Thank you very much, Chair and members. This bill essentially raises the legal minimum age for smoking from 18 to 21. We can talk statistics all day long on this issue, but I want to talk a bit about my personal experience as a healthcare provider and the toll tobacco took on the lives of the people who entrusted me to their care. In 27 years of practice as a dentist, I never had a patient say to me, "Boy, am I glad I started smoking." Indeed, nationwide, 90% of smokers wish they had never started. I saw oral disease progress before my eyes. I saw tooth loss, yellowing of teeth, significant decay, gum disease, and yes, oral cancer. In addition to nicotine being a highly addictive substance, the continued constriction it causes blood vessels in the oral cavity is what leads to poor circulation, gum disease, and ultimately the loss of teeth. I want to spend just a minute on smokeless tobacco, which is common among youth, particularly in the more rural areas of our state and the district that I represent. The constant irritation to the area of the mouth where the wad of tobacco is placed can result in permanent damage to gum tissue, precancerous tissue changes, and oral cancer that can invade the bone. Injured gums pull away from the teeth, exposing root surfaces and leaving teeth susceptible to decay. Receding gums and the erosion of bone that supports leads to tooth loss. Seeing young people whose oral health is being destroyed by tobacco is tragic, and knowing that continued use will, at a minimum, lead to thousands of dollars of restorative dental care, potential disfigurement due to bone loss. At worst, tobacco leads to oral and systemic cancers, requiring treatments in the tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars, and that treatment leaves an impact on a person's quality of life. Ironically, my younger patients who had been educated about the problems related to smokeless tobacco often insisted on an oral cancer exam, something we routinely did for all of our patients. Even with their health concerns, the addiction is so strong, it's really, really difficult for them to stop. But back to smoking. I saw patients who were good friends fight cancer, heart disease, emphysema, and lose their battle to stop smoking. The addiction is so great that many of them, even during radiation, chemotherapy, just can't quit. And it's really painful to watch. We know what killer tobacco products are. We know how the industry works to attract the next generation of victims through advertising, product manipulation, and enhancement. Yet for years we have been reluctant to say, enough. Let's do something productive to stem the tide and save millions of lives in the future. You may hear from witnesses that this infringes on people's right to choose what they do to their bodies. I say it just delays the time frame a bit, and maybe, just maybe, that person won't make a bad decision. And if they do, they will still have a lifetime to enjoy the deadly products and the adverse health impacts that will come with them. In the 1970s, we lowered the drinking age from 21 to 18. We found, as a result, that motor vehicle accidents and fatalities skyrocketed in this age group. Eventually, over many years, under the threat of loss of federal highway funding, gradually this moved back to 21, and we saved lives. This precedent for adjusting an age to accomplish strong public health objectives is before us. The momentum is surging across the nation. New York City and Hawaii have both passed laws to restrict access to tobacco and nicotine products before 21. As mayor in my hometown of Healdsburg, we were the first in California to raise the age to purchase tobacco to 21. Others have followed, including recently Santa Clara County. In July 2015, the CDC released a study that concludes that 75% of adults favor raising the tobacco age to 21, and that includes 70% of smokers. The small city of Needham, Massachusetts took a bold move in 2005 and restricted the sale of tobacco products before the age of 21. While many thought it was a symbolic effort, the results over the next few years surprised people. Over the next 5 years, in the 29 suburbs surrounding Boston, there was a slight decrease in the amount of teen smoking. But in Needham, Massachusetts, it dropped by 50%. Experts attribute this decrease to the loss of social sources. Teen smoking is enabled by older teens buying for the younger. Raising the age to 21 works. 21-year-olds are much less likely than 18-year-olds to buy tobacco products for their 14-year-old friends. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to present this bill. Here with me today are Beverly May with Tobacco Free Kids and Dr. Don Lyman with the California Academy of Preventive Medicine in support of the bill.
Thank you. Chair Bonta and committee members, my name is Beverly May. I'm here today on behalf of the Campaign for Tobacco Free Kids. We are pleased to submit this testimony in support of California's efforts to reduce tobacco use, particularly among youth.
Can you press the button on your mic?
It's on.
It's on. Can you hear now? Okay.
Yes, much better. Thank you.
Okay. The Campaign for Tobacco for Kids is the nation's largest nonprofit, non-governmental advocacy solely devoted to reducing tobacco use. Tobacco remains the nation's #1 preventable cause of premature death and disease. Raising the legal age for the sale of tobacco products to 21 complements California's current tobacco prevention and control efforts and is an important step that will protect youth and young adults from the unrelenting efforts of the tobacco industry to addict them to a product that will kill 1 in 3 of them. Earlier this year, the Institute of Medicine, one of the most prestigious scientific authorities in the world, concluded that raising the tobacco age to 21 will have a substantial positive impact on public health and save lives. The IOM found that raising the tobacco age will significantly reduce the number of adolescents and young adults who start smoking, reduce smoking-caused deaths, and immediately improve the health of adolescents, young adults, young mothers who would be deterred from smoking, as well as their children. Raising the tobacco age is popular with the public, as was mentioned before by the sponsor, by a poll that was, or a study that was released by the Centers for Disease Control. Raising the age will help protect our youth from a lifetime of addiction to a deadly product. 95% of adult smokers begin smoking before they turn 21, and about 80% first try their first cigarette before age 18. I think it's really important. A couple of things I want to cover in my last minute here is we talk about the military. The minimum age of military service does not equate to readiness to enlist in a lifetime of nicotine addiction. Tobacco is bad for military preparedness, and the Department of Defense has stepped up efforts to help service members quit. In addition to harming troops' health, tobacco use is a huge financial drain on the DoD and VA healthcare systems. The DoD spends more than $1.6 billion each year on tobacco-related medical care. I will end by saying it is important to remember that the age 18 is not the age of majority for everything, from buying alcohol to running for certain political offices, and so on. The appropriate age for various activity is based on evaluating risk and other factors. Tobacco use is addictive. It's deadly activity, and most people never make that choice to smoke as an adult. The industry targets young people, and that is who starts smoking. The policy will help protect them. We urge swift passage. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members, good afternoon. I'm Dr. Donald Lyman. I'm here representing the California Academy of Preventive Medicine, which is in support of the statute. I'm recently retired from the Department of Public Health, State's Department of Public Health, where I ran the tobacco control program. This is a very successful program. We have cut the adult smoking rate by 50%, from about 22% down to about 11-12%. We've also cut the amount of tobacco consumed by about 80%. It's just wonderful. Concurrently, 25 years later, we have cut the lung cancer rate in California by about 25%. That's spectacular. This is like a vaccine against cancer. It's very nice. Now, in the statute which authorizes this program, don't think of the vaccine bill. No, don't go there. Now, in the statute for this program, you have required us to reduce the adult smoking rate to 7%. We're now at 11 to 12%. And we're heading that way, but we've run into a big problem. It's the tobacco industry. They have targeted this age group, 18 to 21, for high-profile attention. And they've done that for a reason, and you've heard it. They know this is the highest risk population for addiction. If they try them, much higher frequency of people go on to addiction. The other is that this is the group which supplies tobacco to their younger friends, the teenagers, where we don't want this stuff to go. So we're in a head-to-head with the tobacco industry, and we need your help. And this is part of that help. So I urge a yes vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Additional witnesses in support. Whitney Staniford on behalf of First Five California and the First Five Association in support.
David Ford for the Medical Oncology Association of Southern California and the Association of Northern California Oncologists in support.
Jerry Jeffy, representing the California Chronic Care Coalition, in support.
Megan Allred, representing the California Dental Association, in strong support.
Autumn Ogden with the American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network, also in support.
Gregory Kramer on behalf of Planned Parenthood Affiliates of California, in support.
Callie Hampton on behalf of the American Heart and American Stroke Association, in support.
Terry Brennan on behalf of SEIU California, in support.
Matt Reed on behalf of Breathe California and the Breathe California affiliates, in support.
Gary Cooper on behalf of the Oral and Facial Surgeons of California, in support.
Lindsay Freitas with the American Lung Association, in support.
Tim Madden, representing the California chapter of the American College of Emergency Physicians and the California chapter of the American College of Cardiology, in support.
Sawait Sium on behalf of Health Access California, in support.
Vanessa Kahina on behalf of the California Society of Anesthesiologists, in support.
Alicia Sanchez with the California Medical Association, in support.
Amber King with the Association of California Healthcare Districts, in support.
Kimberly Chen with the California Pan-Ethnic Health Network, in support.
Brandon Roberts with the Health Officers Association of California, in support.
Justin Garrett with Marcia Dimes, in support.
Farrah McDade Ting with the California State Association of Counties, in support.
Sean South with the California Primary Care Association, in support.
Jasmine Gordon on behalf of the California Black Health Network, in support.
Lydia Bourne, American Academy of Pediatrics, in support.
Michael Radigan on behalf of the Board of Supervisors, Santa Clara County, in support.
Seeing no additional witnesses in support, witnesses in opposition. Please come forward. It's your pleasure, whenever you're ready.
Mr. Chairman, members, my name is Pete Conity. I'm a retired Army officer and spent 21 years in the Army, a tour in Vietnam, where I spent a lot of time trying to stomp out or stop our servicemen from using marijuana so they could remain alert. So this is an interesting journey. I represent the American Legion, the American Veterans, the Vietnam Veterans of America, the Military Officers Association, the Association of the United States Army, the Fleet Reserve Association, the Military Order of the Purple Heart, and the Jewish War Veterans. And we are opposed to this legislation for reasons stated in the analysis. But I'm old enough to remember when there were only about 2 states where our servicemen and women could vote at age 18. All other states were 21. And the movement during the Vietnam War was, if you're old enough to fight and die for your country, you ought to have a say in who we elect. And so every state has passed legislation lowering the voting age to 18. But now we're going to take that right away from our military forces in the state of California and raise the age to 21. California has more active duty military, reservists, and National Guard than any other state. And they have their dependents here. And contrary to previous testimony, being in the military is more dangerous to your health than smoking. So these people are adults that are willing to put their life on the line for their country, and they ought to be able to go buy a pack of cigarettes if they want to. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair and distinguished members of the committee. Again, this will be the last time you'll hear from me today. My name is Gregory Conley on behalf of the American Vaping Association. I'd like to bring something to your attention as a resident of New Jersey, which is one of the, I believe, 4 states that had previously raised the age to buy tobacco to 19. which I think is reasonable and does do an effective job at keeping tobacco out of high schools. I turned 19 approximately a couple weeks before the law went into effect. So I was 19 and I could legally buy cigarettes. Meanwhile, my friends who were 18, who, let's say on Monday, they could go into the store and legally purchase cigarettes, tobacco, e-cigarettes, whatever they wished. The next day, all of a sudden, it became a crime for someone to sell them a tobacco product. I would strongly encourage you to at least, if you're going to do this, I'm not going to be able to change your minds, I recognize that, but grandfathering in existing legal smokers, you hear these groups that talk about how the reason why these 18-year-olds and 19-year-olds are smoking is because they've been targeted, and they've been targeted for addiction. Well, have some sympathy for the 18, 19, and 20-year-olds. They are going to have to go to their friends, and they're going to have to put their friends in a very precarious legal position to purchase and acquire tobacco for them. Not all, and I don't believe even a majority, of 18, 19, and 20-year-old smokers will quit if this law goes into effect. All they will be doing is making criminals out of their friends. And I'd like to add this bill, I believe due to the earlier definition change in another bill, would include non-nicotine vapor products. I think it stretches the imagination to say that servicemen and women, or even me when I was 20, could not purchase a vapor product. I will show you this. I would pass it around. This is tobacco-free snuff, nicotine-free snuff. It comes in cherry. It is essentially, you could say that it's a training product to use actual snuff.
I'd like to move the bill.
It will remain available to youth under this bill, but no nicotine vapor products will not. I'll repeat since you look a little confused. Non-nicotine vapor products, vapor products that do not contain nicotine, will be illegal to those under 21. Meanwhile, imitation snuff, smokeless tobacco products that don't actually contain tobacco, they are designed to look and feel and taste just like tobacco, 18, 19, 17, 16. Doesn't matter your age, you can keep buying it, but if you want to buy a vapor product, possibly to quit smoking, even if it doesn't contain nicotine, well, until you're legal to drink, you can't buy it. I don't think that makes sense. And I would really urge grandfathering in and perhaps looking to the non-nicotine issue. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Additional witnesses in opposition? Seeing none. Assemblymember Bonilla, questions and comments from members?
Oh, okay.
Which microphone?
Okay. So as looks like there's a few members of the public that weren't quite ready to state their opposition, so why don't you go ahead and line up, and as that's happening, we can entertain a second to Mr. Levine's motion. We have a second from Assemblymember Stone. Thank
Armando
you.
Serafin, San Jose, California, oppose.
My name is Matthew Villarreal from Los Angeles, California, and I oppose.
Edward Wolf, this changes AB6, which you said it would not change the adult age, and now it will with this bill. So you're now changing what you said you wouldn't do.
Ms. Kirsten,
All right, just to clarify what we're doing here, you're stating your name, your organization, or your city, and your position. That's it. Proceed, please.
Ms. Kirsten Sherholt, I'm representing Vape Verde from Burbank, California, and we strongly oppose this bill.
Thank you.
Robin Pennock, Elevate Vallejo, LLC, and I oppose this bill.
Jonathan Thomas with Flawless Manufacturing Distribution, strongly opposed.
John Kavanaugh from Vaping Industries, Costa Mesa, strongly opposed.
Chris Coppa, Vaping Industries, Costa Mesa, strongly opposed.
Daniel Salazar, Army of It, strongly opposed.
James Lewis, Small Business Owner, opposed.
Ryan Zarinsky, Anaheim, California, strongly opposed.
Brian Macias, Fullerton, California, and I strongly oppose.
Rich Kellett, Villain Vapors, I strongly oppose.
Natalie Gomez, San Jose, I strongly oppose.
Lisa Kellett, Santa Fe Springs, California, Villain Vapors, I strongly oppose.
James Chong, Placentia, California, ECC VPX, I strongly oppose.
Kyle Ryan, San Jose, California, I strongly oppose.
Bobby Williams, representing Vapor 93 out of Rockland, California, I strongly oppose.
Joshua Kirby with Flavetastic Vapors, opposed. Joshua French, Visalia, California, I oppose.
Mark Rodriguez, Fresno, California, opposed.
George Orozco, still serving in the military, and I strongly oppose.
Thank you. Seeing no additional witnesses in opposition, Assemblymember Bonilla.
I noticed in the analysis, the opposition about the military. And isn't it true that on military bases, servicemen can drink wine and beer? Is that correct? If they're not before they're 21?
No, that is not correct. The drinking age on military bases is 21, but perhaps we will try and change that next year.
Well, that's interesting because because I was thinking looking at the consistency if that was the case, but it isn't the case. I mean, I certainly understand the frustration in that environment around the age being 21. I think it's something that's worth looking at. I understand, I support the bill, I understand all the risks, but when we start talking about risk and we're talking about our young men and women serving in the military, there's a little irony there that I think makes it a more difficult discussion. So I think that I support the bill, but I think it's something we really do need to look at. It's an exception that I think is understandable to make.
Thank you. Any other members with questions or comments? Thank you. Seeing none, we have a motion. We have a second. Dr. Wood, would you like to close?
Yeah, I'd just like to address the issue around military service because it's come up a couple different ways. So, indeed, we can send a person to war at 18, but that, in my mind, doesn't mean that we shouldn't be trying to protect them in other ways. Many of my patients who were the heaviest smokers were often veterans. And maybe that's because it was so much easier and cheaper to get tobacco products in the military than it is anywhere else. I love my country. I'd do anything for it. I protect it, including going to war myself so that my son wouldn't have to go, who's 19 years old. And if I could change the age of military service, I'd do that too, but I can't do that. Those eligible for military service cannot legally drink until you're 21 years old. You can't rent a car until you're 25. So what does that tell you about how the insurance industry assesses risk and a person's judgment and their age of maturity? So I don't buy it. I think that unfortunately a lot of the veterans that I have seen that have been the heaviest smokers have also had the heaviest health impacts, and we, quite frankly, are paying for all of that. So why wouldn't we want to help curb that habit? Why wouldn't we want to protect our children from this deadly product? And so I think the time to act is now. Let's move this policy forward. Let's save lives. And let's save the needless suffering. And let's save the state of California a lot of money in the long run. So I ask for your aye vote, and I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Wood. We have a motion. We have a second. The motion is due pass to finance. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Bonta?
Aye.
Bonta, aye. Mainshine? Baker? No. Baker, no. Bonilla? Bonilla, aye. Campos? Campos, aye. Garcia? Levine? Levine, aye. Mays? No. Mays, no. Santiago? Santiago, aye. Steinnorth? Steinnorth, no. Stone? Stone, aye. Thurman? Aye. Thurman, aye. Wood?
Aye.
Wood, aye.
The bill passes with a vote of 8-3. Thank you, Dr. Wood. We'll go to our final bill of this hearing. Item number 4, ABX2-8. Thurman, Assemblymember Thurman, Tobacco Use Programs. Whenever you're ready, Assemblymember Thurman.